This Excel video will answer a common question I often get when people start creating dashboards in Excel and they use pivot tables. If you're one of those people, you probably know the advantages of pivot tables, right? They're easy to use, they're fast, and they can do a lot of useful calculations on the fly. They're perfect for slicing and dicing your data. You probably also know its limitations, especially when it comes to visualizing your data. Pivot charts don't have the flexibility of standard Excel charts. You can't make impressive charts like this one or this one, which is a pity because our dashboard is supposed to communicate our message with simple but effective visualization. This is where you can use the GETPIVOTDATA function in Excel to create charts based on pivot tables, but use all the charting options available for standard charts. Let me show you. The GETPIVOTDATA functionality runs off a pivot table, so we need a pivot table in there. Now here I have a set of data, and I'm going to create a pivot table from it. The first thing I do before creating a pivot table off of this directly is to convert this to an Excel data table. So just go anywhere in it, make sure I have headers everywhere, and press Ctrl-T. Does the table have headers? Yes. And that's the right range. I'm just going to remove the formatting that Excel gives me to take me back to my original formatting. Now this is an official Excel table. So let me just give it a name. From this, I'm going to create a pivot table. Here I can summarize with pivot table. The reason I'm doing this is that it makes my life much simpler because the moment new data come in, I don't have to update the source for my pivot table. All I have to do is just refresh it. This part is fine. I don't want it on a new worksheet. I want it right here. So let's put it here. Let's put month on rows, and let's put revenue as our values. Okay, so that's a very basic pivot table. Now, where does this GETPIVOTDATA functionality come in and why do I need it? Well, I need it if I want to extract this data from the pivot table and put it in separate cells. But I don't want to do it in a very rigid way where I'm referencing this exact cell like H5 here. Because if my pivot table changes and maybe I bring in division and this shifts here, then my rigid cell reference is going to be wrong. So I want a dynamic cell reference, and that's what the GETPIVOTDATA functionality gives me. Why would I need to extract data from a pivot table and put it in separate cells? Well, in my case, I work a lot with charts and I do a lot of data visualization, and if the basis of the chart data is in a pivot table, I have restricted functionality when I use pivot charts. Pivot charts have a lot of limitations. For example, you can't use special chart combinations. I can't put in a scatter plot. And when I create charts, I do combine different series together to give me the best impact in the chart. And pivot charts don't let me do that. So I need to extract the data in a data preparation table to be flexible with my chart design. It's not just for charts, but you might want to use very complex formulas on the answers that your pivot table gives you, and you can't use the standard pivot table functionalities to get that. So you might also want to extract your data and then run those formulas on them. So let me demonstrate this for you by creating a pivot chart, and then I'm going to use the GETPIVOTDATA functionality to extract the data from it to make a better chart. Based on this, I'm going to create a pivot chart. So that's fine. Let's just put it down here. I'm just going to make this a bit smaller. Remove some things that we definitely don't need. To add some dynamic functionality to this, I'm going to add a slicer to this chart so that I can select different divisions. And slicers are available since Excel 2010. This way I can click on a division and my pivot chart updates. Can you tell what I don't like about this? I don't like that I have gaps in my months, but I'm not seeing them. And I don't like that it's going to be expanding and contracting when I get more months. Okay, so here I have January, February, March. That's fine, even though I normally prefer to see all the 12 months and then get my bars on them. Here I have gaps. I have January, March, and April. And here I think I have all the months. What I want to do is to bring in the 12 months so that I can visually see cases like this one where I have a gap in there. And that's when I can use the GETPIVOTDATA functionality. So first of all, make sure that you have it activated. By default, it should be, but in case it's not, go to File, Options. Under Formulas, you should have a tick mark for Use GETPIVOTDATA functions. Next is to create a section where I'm preparing the data for my chart. I'm going to be referencing the pivot table. Here I've already put in the months because I do want to show 12 months. This is where I want to extract data from the pivot table. And the great thing about the GETPIVOTDATA functionality is that you don't have to think about what is the structure of this formula, because when you click on it, it generates one for you. But if I pull this down, it's going to give me 10,000 because it's copying Jan to here. Before we can see what part of this can be made dynamic, let's just take a look at this formula. The first argument is the KPI, is our revenue, and then it references G4. That's our pivot table. So it just knows where the pivot table starts. And then it says for month, the month element, it should be Jan, and it's fixed it. What I can do is to make the parts that I can make dynamic, dynamic. And in this case, I want to make January dynamic because I want to pull this down. This one works, this one works, this one gives me a problem. Why? Because it can't find February in the pivot table. What I can do is to wrap it inside an IFERROR function, and that should get rid of the errors. So in case it returns an error, I want nothing. Otherwise, it should give me the number. And now it looks good. So it's referencing this table. When I click Game, that changes. When I click Utility, that changes because this changes. Now let me show you the advantage of the GETPIVOTDATA function instead of just doing a cell reference. So let's say I come in next month and I change the layout of this pivot table by adding a division to it. And I don't want to add it right here. Let me do it in a tabular format. So remember, this number is sitting in column H. I'm going to change now the design of my pivot table to get it in tabular. So they switched to I, but this is still updating. It looks for Jan and it finds it. It's not referencing this exact cell, it's referencing a position in the pivot table. One thing you have to keep in mind is that the month column has to be visible in the pivot table. If I completely get rid of it, I will get errors everywhere. So it has to be visible. But the structure of it doesn't really matter because the GETPIVOTDATA functionality is going to figure out where it's sitting. Now that I've extracted the data in a dynamic way, all I do is create a normal chart that's based on this data. Let's just add the data labels to this. And I'm just going to decrease the gap width so that they get a bit closer together. This way, I can see the 12 months and I see them in order. And this chart is also connected to the slicer because it's connected to the pivot table indirectly through this GETPIVOTDATA functionality. So when I click Game, see how this looks? When I click Productivity, see how this looks versus this one. Now you can improve the design of the slicers as well. In Slicer Options, here you have some styles. Generally, what I don't like to have in the slicers is a border, and they all have a border. Okay, so just pick one that you kind of like. Let's say I like this gray one, and right mouse click and duplicate it. I'll call it Slicer LG. Here you can change the formatting a bit. To get rid of the border, you go on the whole slicer, format, that's the border, and I'm going to click none. Okay, you have other options here, so you can play around and change the colors as well if you want. Under slicer settings, I'm going to say don't show me the header. So that gives me a more cleaner look. I'm going to increase the columns to 3. Expand on this and put this below my chart. Notice that I took away that border, but it's still here, right? Because it's still that original style that it was on. You have to go and click on the new one that you just made. It's called LG style, and I clicked on it, and now the border is gone. And then you can click on the buttons and your chart updates, and it is indirectly connected to the pivot table. Now, what happens when new data come in? Let's go and put in data for June, for game. Let's add data for hacker, 19,000. June was a good month. All I have to do to get it reflected in my chart is to refresh my pivot table. Okay, now it should be there. I added it for June to game. So I click on game and it's right there. So that's how you can make good use of the Get Pivot Data functionality in your reports and in your dashboards. I'd also love to hear from you. Do you use the Get Pivot Data functionality in Excel? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video useful, please hit that thumbs up. If you want to learn more about creating dashboards in Excel while using smart techniques, check out the link below this video. Thank you for watching.